Happy Fragrant Friday for Raghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy, coming at you with a very different episode. You know, I've talked about it long enough. I have talked about doing a top 10 list of my favorite fragrance houses, and it is time to do it, my friends. We have danced around the topic long enough. Usually I do single fragrant reviews each Friday, and this Friday I wanted to do something different. So I'm really excited about this, and it was difficult to whittle it down to 10, and in classic frag reviewer style, I failed miserably, and I'm going to offer 12, 2 honorable mentions. So just a couple things about this list that I want to say very quickly before I dive in. Number one is I decided not to do a niche and a designer, a different, like a top 5 designer, top 5 niche. I'm just going to give you my top 10 favorite end of, for a couple of reasons. Number one is, I like what I like. And then number two is, I've talked about this before, sometimes it's difficult to decide whether or not a company is what I call a middle ground company between a designer and a niche or full on niche. So if this is all new to you, new terminology, designer would be something that you usually see in department stores, and they have many types of products, and one of them is fragrance. Niche is that is what they do. They do fragrance. That's the only thing they put out. Notice I say only, and that's why a company like Hermes or Dior, those, quite frankly, are difficult for me because they're also known for other things. Hermes principally with leather, and so Cartier, they're known for watches. What do you do with some of the middle ground fragrance houses? Are they designer? Are they niche? So I'm just going to go with my top 10. I don't really care what categories they are. I'm just going to go with that. And then what I do is for each house, I have a personal favorite of mine. And so here's what I would like to do in this episode. One of 3 things. Number one, or you could do all of them. Number one, let me know your scent of the day. The juice I'm rocking today is Gérius Rouge by Givenchy. Just an outstanding classic. Love that fragrance. Why I waited so long to get that bottle is beyond moi. And then the second thing would be, let me know for each house what your favorite fragrance is. And then, of course, you could also just flat out let me know what is your top 10 favorite fragrance houses. That would be great. I would love to hear, and we can have a discussion, go back and forth on this. It's all subjective, of course, but I know a lot of reviewers divided up by a designer and niche, and, I am, of course, different. All right, so let's dive in. I have 2 honorable mentions for you. First one off the bat is really a sentimental favorite. I have not had a bottle of this one, but I've smelled many in the department stores. They bring back good memories, and I had many samples over the years. And I just like the classic soapy gentleman quality of this house. I can't say it cracks the top 10 right now, but I really look at this house fondly and with high regard. And that can only be the Italian house, Acqua di Parma. My favorite one so far is Colonia Assoluta. I really enjoy that house, and I would like to have more, but of course we are all limited by our budget. The second house, I usually put Montal in with Mancera. You guys know the deal that this is Piero Montal's house, Montal, and then his daughter has Mancera. I've tried more Manceras, but Montal needs to be an honorable mention only because, again, I've just not had enough experience with it. With the house. Everything I have, though, points towards cracking the top 10 in the future. My favorite one is Intense Cafe from Montal. I like the bottle, I like the little I just like their design. I like the fact that they last forever and a day. And I would not be surprised if I redid this list in 5 years if Montal and Custom National, I let the cat out of the bag, and Acqua di Parma were in my top 10. So speaking of number 10, you now know that is Custom National, and I have finally broken myself of the habit of saying Custom National. Remember, it would be Nazionale if it were Italian, so I don't even know why we say National. Custom National is a think outside the box house that I I rarely buy into marketing, but it's the one house I do admit I buy into their marketing of being different and thinking outside the box, et cetera, other marketing buzzwords. And then my favorite is Costume National Pour Homme. I absolutely love that fragrance. And so I haven't tried a whole bunch, but I have tried enough, and I really like all of them. And it's a company that impresses me. And so, and I also, this is kind of my out of left field pick in my top 10. This would be a pick that you probably wouldn't see on most top 10s, men or women for that matter. But, I really like that house. So number 9 is going to be Givenchy. What I love about Givenchy is, I might not have a fragrance, like my signature scent might not be from Givenchy. I might not have my top 5. But what I love about this house is they never let you down. Some of these houses, I like most things, but there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 releases that I did not like at all. I cannot say that about Givenchy. Everything that I have tried, I have either liked or outright loved. My favorite, honorable mention goes to Gérius Rouge. Come on, I have so many from this house, but my favorite would be Givenchy Play Intense. Absolutely love that one, and I have the 5 ounce, I'm not sure the milliliters on that, the 5 ounce Mammoth bottle, because they have discontinued it. And so I have that, and I save it for very special occasions. Number 9 is Givenchy. Number 8 is another one. I think it's a good example of why it's kind of hard to talk about niche and designer, is Lalique. Lalique, of course, is known for glass, but they're also known for fragrance. And I have tried a number of them, and it was really difficult to name my favorite. I'm going to go with Lalique Per Homme, which is the one with the lion on it. I've had so many bottles of that, it's not even funny, and I really like that one. A very close second, though, extremely close, is Encanois à l'extrême. So, extremely close, extrême. Okay. So, that was a tough call, but I like many from Lalique, and they are a surprising, robust number 8. And I say that because you can get their fragrances for dirt cheap. And so, if you are on a budget, that is another house that would be great for you. Number 7 has to be Guerlain. I really appreciate the sophistication with Guerlain. I also like the fact that, you have to get them in certain places. They're kind of hard to find. I like that about them. And I like the fact that they don't release a ton of things, but what they do have, obviously, is held in high regard and is high quality. My favorite is Lidge, which is L'Instant de Galant Extrême, and that is be like L for, the L is La, and then instant, it looks like instant, de Guerlain, and then extreme. So people just call it Lidge, Lidge, and that one is just superb. That fragrance is outstanding, incredibly addicting, and I just really appreciate that house. Along the same lines, actually, is number 6, which would be Hermès. One of the reasons why I included Hermès on here, and maybe even bumped it up, is I love their customer service. I appreciate the fact that you can email them, you can contact them, Twitter, whatever form you use. You can contact them, and if they have it in stock, they will send you free samples of something that you ask for. I have done this a number of times. Maybe if they've stopped, they've only stopped in the last year or two, because they used to be really, really good about that. And they had a maximum number, I think it was 4 or 5. But they sent me a few packages, just absolutely free. You just contact them, and I love that about them. I love that they stand behind their product, and they're so confident that you will like their fragrances, that once you sample it, you will purchase that. So Hermès needs to be, a shout out needs to be given on this list for them in that sense. On this one, I actually have one of the fragrances. My favorite is one of the few fragrances for which I have changed my opinion from the very beginning. I did not like Terre d'Hermès when I first smelled it. I didn't like the hype. I didn't like the orange. I didn't really get it. And then I wore it, and I adore that fragrance. I love Terre d'Hermès, and that is my favorite from Hermès. I have many that I like, but Terre d'Hermès is going to get the the winner. And I think I have the Eau de Toilette. I might have the Eau de Parfum. But either way, I like that one a lot. That is my favorite for Hermès, which is number 6. Coming in at number 5, I mean, what list would be complete without Dior? I mean, can you have a list? Can you have a top 10 without Dior? I love the house. I don't like it as much as a lot of people, but it is in my top 5. So it's going to be number 5 for me. And then my favorite is Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum. And I'm talking about the dark green bottle, which I'm pretty sure is 2012. It might be 11, but it's the 2012, the original. So it's the Eau Sauvage Parfum, like the frankincense, and it's, like I said, it's a dark bottle. If I have time in editing, I'll put a picture, but I'm a little busy today. But it's the 2012 one, and then the 2017 one, which I own, is lighter. It's a lighter green, and it has different notes in it. I prefer 2012, but either one, either the 12 or the 17, are just sparkling and outstanding. I've gotten a ton of compliments, unsolicited compliments on Eau Sauvage Parfum. Okay, so number 4. I mean, okay. Have I evolved in the last 6 years of doing YouTube reviews on fragrance? Yes, I have. Would I say Acqua di Gio is still my favorite? It's a sentimental favorite, is how I like to phrase that. It was my first love, and incredibly addicting, and I pump it intravenously through me at all times. So Giorgio Armani has to be in the top 5. This is a divisive pick, of course, because a lot of frag heads feel like the Armanis are synthetic mess. I just don't care. I just really like a lot from this house, and I'm going to go with, of course, Acqua di Gio. If you get one thing from this episode, make sure that you correct people when they say Acqua di Gio. It's not Gio, it's Gio as in Giorgio. So that is, an addicting one, but it's not just that. That it is a fantastic house. Yes, I concede that, they're slightly or very synthetic, but I would not call them a synthetic mess. I think people are just jealous because houses like Armani and Paco Rabanne get a lot of compliments. I think it's jealousy in the end. Okay, so number 3 for me is Mancera. One of the reasons why this channel is coming to a close is because I really found what I know that I really, really enjoy. I'm kind of the target audience for the mid-level price range fragrances that smell wonderful and just last all day long. And so that's pretty much Mancera, right? I love Manceras because you don't have any sillage or longevity or projection issues, rarely, and unless they do reformulations, slap on the wrist. And other than that, though, I love that about this particular house. Again, synthetic might be high for a lot of people's lists. They probably maybe have it 8, 9, and 10, or as an honorable mention. I like the house. My favorite, in fact, I even have a tie on my favorite. I own red tobacco, so I feel like I should say that's my favorite. But I also like Cedrat Boise, which I heard was reformulated. I recently reviewed Cedrat Boise Intense. So either way, though, I've tried many from this house, and I greatly appreciate. You get a lot of bang for your buck. All right, that's what I want to say with number 3, Mancera. If you watch a lot of top 10s, you're going to see the frag heads will usually frag reviewers will usually bash Mancera because it's too synthetic for them. I disagree, obviously. I'm giving it the bronze medal. Coming in at number 2 with the silver medal is Maison Francis Kurkdjian. He is a master at what he does, and here's why I'm putting this at number 2. Many of you have noted this too. What I love about Maison Francis Kurkdjian, people just say MFK. What I love about MFK as a house is that their fragrances smell otherworldly. I know, again, it's a buzzword, it's cringeworthy, but they do. They really, I feel they take me to a different place. They alter my mood. I know these things are cliche, but it is true, and I genuinely appreciate that about this house. What I would say though, so I have to take off a little bit though. What I would say is I wish they were a little bit cheaper, of course. And then number two is I can't say they're the most daring. They smell. They smell divine. They smell like something you would expect at like a 5-star hotel, right? But I will say that I can't come out and say that they have the most, cutting edge fragrances in the industry. So I'm going to leave it at number 2. My favorite, of course, would be Baccarat Rouge 540. 540. Baccarat Rouge 540. Talked about that one a lot. I have many favorites from this house. That's what I mean is Mancera and MFK have really catapulted up the list for me over the months. And the more I get to know the houses, the more I appreciate them. Again, I can't give the gold out to MFK because I wouldn't call the house daring. I would call them prestigious, sophisticated, divine, classic, those kinds of adjectives, and not so much cutting edge or daring. That's just my take on that. Number one is the house that, surprisingly, if you follow me, you know what it is. But I will say this house won first place by going into we just finished March Madness, so let's use basketball terms. We went into overtime. Then I made a 3-pointer. I tried a 3-pointer in overtime, and we were tied, and I missed, and so we went to double overtime. And then at the last second in double overtime, it makes the basket to win. This barely holds on to number 1 spot, and that is Amouage. If I'm going to call myself the hashtag Amouage fanboy, then by God, it better win first place. You guys and I have talked about this over the last few months, though. I do admit, if I had done this list 4, 5, even 3 years ago, it would have been hands down number 1, not even close. I will say it barely beat out many of these houses, especially in the top 5, of course, because I feel like since Christopher Chong has left, I do have concerns about the house in the direction that it's going. That said, this is my list, and I feel like, you know what, I want to pay homage to the fact that I've always loved Amouage. And I don't like the current direction, but who's to say? Maybe it will be better. I mean, I don't know. And I'm going to stick with Amouage for the double overtime, barely victory at number 1. And then my favorite one for Amouage, my favorite, I mean, it is the only fragrance that got the TCG bonus spray, other than my emotional sentimental favorite of Acqua di Gio. So this one is Jubilation 25. Jubilation 25 is the reason why fragrances are made. Just outstanding, so complex in nature, and it's another one that is otherworldly indeed. So I hope the house changes their current direction. I hope they go back to the salad days, and I hope they go back to a better time, at least in terms of their artistic touch. Maybe financially they're doing much better, so good on them if that's the case, and I hope they are. But I will express concern for their near future, but they deserve the number 1 spot. So there you have it. That's my top 10 fragrance houses. I really enjoy doing this, actually. And I want to know, like I said, what is your scent of the day? What is your top 10 favorite houses? Niche or designer, doesn't matter. I don't care about that. And then the other thing would be maybe pick a couple houses that you liked here and let me know your favorite from a particular house. Do you agree with my list? Do you disagree? Do you feel like Custom National has no business being in a top 10, or maybe the opposite? Let me know if you feel like some of these houses have had a lot of reformulations lately, or if they have bad customer service. I would like to know all that stuff. Please let me know your opinions. Give me good feedback. And always remember, my friends, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. have I evolved in the last 7 years of, let's see, seven, God, it's been 7 years. Yes, it's been 5 years, 6 years.